Hey, hi, hello there, I'm DilyDaly, and this is the Rogue-lite Power Hour for Thursday. I'm recording this a little late, so I'm gonna be a little weird. But we're doing the usual. I need to double check the volume, because this is really loud. I remember this game being really quiet, or like really loud, just like in general. Yeah, not a whole lot I can do about that, I don't think. Aside from decreasing the source audio. What's my button? Okay, well, okay, like I promised, we'll be talking about Castle. Oh, that's what it was. I used my controller for this game. Okay, I'll just take my mouse off screen. Doing power shots is not really the play. Reroll, Frost Mage. Maybe do the Ghost, you know? Yeah, fuck it. Really early on, Ghost is not going to be helpful. It's just going to give me a bunch of new upgrades in the pool that I don't really need. But fuck it. Haste. Dark Arts not going to be very helpful. Alright, like I said, it is a 20 minutes till dawn video, so we'll be talking about Castle. In the last video for Vampire Survivors, we talked about Season 1. I talked about some of the character motivations, how it kind of still felt like they were trying to get their footing. Maybe they were adjusting character personalities a little too much as they were kind of progressing through the show. But even in spite of that, they still did a good job of portraying character personality. And I actually have gone into season 5. Yeah, I'm on season 5 now, and they've actually like done quite a few like recaps on characters and how they were acting and stuff like that. They've done a pretty good job of just kind of re-establishing how some characters used to be, really show off how different they are now. Motivations or personality and decision making that they've had, particularly with Castle and Beckett. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. That is for several videos later from now. But with season 2, that's when things got a little bit more interesting, at least in my mind, because because it had such a seamless transition from season 1 to season 2, because you could tell it was literally just that they got renewed for a new season, and so it was time to they got renewed for a new season, so they just kind of went with it. It was a very quick turnaround, and the stakes for certain things got higher. The budget's a little bit different. The style was improved to be a little bit less rustic, I guess. Because very early on, you can tell that this show was going for a particular style, with like the orangish lighting and the heavy use on the darker tones in the editing process, post processes and stuff. But it never felt like it matched that style, at least not until I feel like they could have used it more in season 2 or 3, because season 2 is when we had the FBI involvement with Beckett's former boyfriend, lover, person. Yeah. Bullet speed. We had her ex-boyfriend, and we had the whole thing with what was it? The dude that bombed her apartment with the FBI. Like, we had both of those incidents in season 2. And so we got a lot more of an in-depth look at... I still need the other thing. I'll do HP. We had a lot more of an in-depth look on Beckett, on her past, and how she deals with Castle, because it was a lot less like she was dealing with Castle's antics, and more that she was dealing with how she felt about Castle, particularly in this season, because we got introduced to Deming, who was her new person, right? I'm trying to think of like how to put these things. We got introduced to Deming, who was a detective that she met on a murder plus robbery, case, and he works in the breaking and entering division, or like the robbery division or something like that. And so she and him kind of hit it off. There's a little bit of tension here. There's a little bit of feelings. And Castle can see that, and there's a large portion of that episode just kind of going off of figuring out of a will they, won't they, until the next couple episodes, where he's not really involved, but he's still kind of hanging around. And then I think that's also the episode where we learn a little bit more about Esposito too, and his time at the 54th, which opens up a bit more of a look into some of the life of the police, because I feel like season 2 does a really good job of opening up the storyline for... Hang on. Sure. Actually, I was not paying attention. What's the upgrade? The health. That's not great. I don't hate that, though. Anyway. The... Season 2 does a really good job of opening up the door to what some of Season 3 and 4 leads up to. Because Season 2 opens the door to the police investigating themselves, and opens up the door to the internal affairs, opens up the door to the other governmental agents apart from the FBI, opens up the door to some of the Black Ops kind of like dealings that Castle becomes involved with. Well, not just Castle, but like him and the 12th precinct. Season 2 does a really good job of opening up a lot of those doors to make it so you're not in disbelief watching the show. You're just kind of waiting to see where all of these little... It's just Chekhov's gun. You're waiting for the gun keeps getting loaded and loaded and loaded, and you're just waiting for it to go off. And in Season 2, you don't really see it go off all too much. There is everything with the FBI in the later parts of the season, where with Shaw, who which that was actually a really interesting plot line that I cannot summarize for you because I should have rewatched those episodes to be able to do so. I just remember really liking it. I remember. I'm trying to think. Was it Beckett? Beckett was targeted, but I don't remember if it was that Beckett was the target the entire time. It was a couple of murders, staging people, or choosing people based on, it was someone staging murders based on Castle's books. Again. And specifically the new books, the Nikki Heat books. And the dude, I'm really trying to think right now. Anyway, so the I remember everything with that Holy Arts. Okay, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked and I'm like trying to pay attention to this. So, okay, Beckett is getting targeted as Nikki Heat in those episodes. I remember that. She's getting, or like, Castle's books are being emulated again, but this time it's the Nikki Heat books and not the Storm books. And then Reaper rounds. And then the FBI show up because there is potential makings of a serial killer, if I remember correctly. I don't remember if there's anything specific that they were looking into that got them involved in the first place, but I remember they got involved and 12th Precinct didn't really like that. By 12th Precinct, I mean Beckett, because Shaw was attractive, according to her, and Castle is not immune to the allure of women, as was very evident in season 2 with his ex-wife and everything. But to get back to the point, season 2 really showed where Castle stood with Beckett, or like where Castle felt, or where Castle stood in terms of how he felt about Beckett. Because during the bombing incident, during the entire investigation, there wasn't a single moment during any of it, or like during the hostage situation, that he didn't think about Beckett. And it really showed just how far the relationship was going to go. But again, Chekhov's gun, you had no idea when that was going to happen. It was just another thing that the anticipation was going to keep growing for. There is a lot of season 2 that was a lot of loading, and a couple of times where you're ready for the gun to go off, and it might as well have, but it just didn't yet. And I think that's really good television. Like, it kept me engaged the whole time because I'm just waiting for this to happen. Jesus, can I, like, kill things? It's great I have these soul hearts, but, like, why am I not doing enough damage? Why am I not leveling up? Jesus. I don't have ice, so that's not helpful. Starting up glare right now is not great. Yeah. That's gonna be the play. What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, I don't have enough anything right now to deal with this. What? Why are people not dying? No. What the fuck? Did I just run? Like, I don't think I can do anything about this right now. I can't run fast enough for those guys. All of my shit got spread out too thin. Now I am cooked. Why is this taking so long to level up? No shortage of people that are dying. Fuck me. I need to beat this boss. Okay. I need to have that shield faster. Frost Mage. I need to be able to freeze enemies right now. That'll help immensely. Fuck. Now it's just a numbers game. Nope, I'm dying. I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna die here. Yep. Nope. I healed right before I got hit. Or I got my shield right before I got hit. I don't know which one of those things happened. Damage. Damage, 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 damage. We're not moving. This is a lot. Holy shit, dude. That. So, as I was saying, Season 2 was a lot of loading. We saw some things kind of happen. There's a lot of anticipation for a lot of things to just kind of happen, and seeing that kind of happen as the series goes on kept me really engaged, because there wasn't a thing that I was waiting for that I didn't care about. I wanted to see if Castle and Beckett were going to get together. I wanted to see if I wanted to see if Castle and Beckett are going to get together. I wanted to see what was happening with these internal investigations. I wanted to see what was going on with Deming. I wanted to see what was going on with Esposito. I wanted to know what's happening with Ryan. Like, there wasn't a single moment that I wasn't engaged in what was going on. I have that thing that gives me more damage per HP, but that's just better. Oh dear. Why is it still like not doing a lot of damage? They're giving me Halo. I need the XP bonus, dude. That still went through after all of that, after all of this new damage. We're gonna have a problem here. Fuck. Did I do the spears? Like, I need extra damage. Let's just keep doing these. Anyhow, yeah. Season 2 was really good. Seeing the anticipation for some of these things happen was incredible. Seeing the payoff was also amazing. Yes. Now we can finally get to doing some stuff. Okay. So we need to heal. Shatter. Giant, because I need healing. Walk speed. Okay. Kind of like season. I realized something also. Just now. I don't think I ever rated season 1. I know for House, I just did it. I did a rating for the entire show, which is a 10. By the way, I don't remember if I said. I think I said it was a 10. But for season 1, I don't think I gave a rating for Castle, so I'll give one right now. Is a 9 or an 8? I don't remember. I think I might have said this actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I might have said it. But I feel like it's kind of an 8 or a 9 because I just didn't. I feel like they didn't quite have their footing yet, and season 2 really solidified the level at which this show had a hold. And so, like, they wouldn't have done all of the setup that they did in season 2 and later on in the later portions of season 3 if they didn't know that the show was going to do really well. And they started laying the groundwork for some of these incredible plot lines. Because again, I'm in season 5 now. And like seeing where the show is now and how long everything took for it to get to these payoffs, it was really gratifying to see. It is such a difference getting Splinter and Shatter. This is when I don't even have that much like damage because I lost so much HP. Trying to think if there was something else I was going to talk about. Fuck. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Back to the main menu. Runes. What am I unlocking? Down here. Don't have enough. So that's already done. 12, yeah, because I'm going the bottom up, right? Cool. Okay. Back to the grind. We're on darkness 14. We're almost at darkness 15, which means we can almost start changing up the maps and the maps and the levels. Am I auto-targeting or not? I'm not auto-targeting. How do I triangle? Okay. Okay, I need to get double shot out of the way as soon as possible. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do haste, because we're gonna do the movements. We're gonna do the wind blade, the wind katana, because I said I was going to try it and show you guys why it is I do the light blade all the time. The last time I played this game, so that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, back to talking about Castle. So I've talked about how I felt about how they were dealing with everything, how they were loading. There's loading a lot of anticipation. There was a bit of payoff here and there, some solid stories in between the big plot points. But to really talk about Season 2, I need to talk about the plot points themselves. Particularly with how everything went with Deming, what Castle did toward the end of the series, or end of the season, talking about Beckett. There's a lot of things about what went on in Season 2 that I can't talk about without getting into spoilers. And I was kind of waiting until like the halfway mark, so that way I'm not spoiling a bunch of stuff right at the beginning of the episode, or the beginning of the Power Hour. So I'll just kind of fill time for the next minute, you know, get a perfect half an hour run through for spoilers. I mean, I guess I talked about a little bit of the spoilers already, so I'll just kind of cover some of that stuff. Was like everything with Shaw. That was really interesting because it kind of felt like having a viewer standing like in the show talking about how Beckett and Castle were with each other. Like, Shaw was constantly pointing out what it is that was always being pointed out to the viewer. Stuff like how they felt about each other, how they saw each other. It was really interesting to see. It was also really interesting seeing, it's kind of jumping off of that, of like seeing how in-depth some of the characters are. I'll talk more about it later when we get into Season 4, because Season 4 we see some stuff about Detective Ryan, about what he used to do before the 12th Precinct. But with some of those side characters that like I said in Season 1, didn't really have any footing. You know, it took a while for them to kind of solidify how they were going to be as characters, how they're meant to feel compared to how they feel against versus Castle. I think I'm gonna do the Scythe. Actually, no, I'm just gonna reroll, and I'll just do HP. But yeah, the seeing Esposito talk about his old partner and seeing his connections to the 54th precinct and how all of that connected to Deming, all of that was it was so interesting to see. Also, we're past the 30-minute mark, so I'm trying to cover more spoilery territory if you prefer not to hear about it. I am sorry, but I need to cover it. Pick up in vision range. Did I get glare? Yeah. Hey, that dude just was not going down. Okay, but I should start getting damage stuff now. What the hell? Yeah, this is gonna be a problem. Okay, do I have fuselage? That's the only thing I was waiting on. I do have it. Fuck, I should have gotten the damage stuff already. Where'd my thing go? There we go. Okay, so I need damage stuff. I shouldn't count on it, but sure. Right, back to spoiler stuff. I gotta stop saying I know I do it a lot. I'm doing my best to try to push it out, or at the very least talk more so it's not very evident. But to be to the point, to be to the point, the plot lines for the FBI, the FBI stuff, the style in how these plot lines added to the anticipation for the upcoming season. So let's talk about Deming first. I already started with that. I already started talking about Deming, so I'll just continue from there. Because he was kind of the tipping point for everything else that was getting anticipation, right? There's also one of the short-term moments where we covered, it was one of the moments that was very short-term, right? The payoff was at the end of the season. Or not payoff, but his involvement was ended at the end of the season. Whereas some of the internal affairs stuff and a lot of those things didn't pay off until toward the end of season 3 even. And so let's talk about him. Conclusively, from the moment he showed up, he was very much a foil to be written into the story versus against Castle, right? Well, that's fucking annoying. Fuck. I mean, walk speed versus movement speed, right? Heal 1 HP. Maybe I should Lightning Mage. Right, I've already started Frost Mage. I just finished the healing, so I'll have to wait a little bit. But yeah, Deming's involvement was really interesting to me because, like I said, he was a foil for against Castle's ingenuity and outside the box thinking, while still being just kind of there, I guess. Because he wasn't eye candy. Like, he played a part in several different episodes, but it always kind of felt like it was unnecessary. He was an afterthought in a lot of the episodes, and partly because of that is because Castle is the main character. We're seeing things from his perspective. There were a couple times we're seeing things from Beckett's perspective, but a lot of those times we're seeing it from her perspective as the viewer being Castle, right? And so it became really clear as the season went on that Deming and Beckett weren't gonna make it. It wasn't gonna be the end-all be-all relationship that we all saw Castle and Beckett being toward the end of season 1. Unfortunately, even though Beckett ended up breaking up with Deming at the end of the season, that did not mean Beckett and Castle got together, which I will cover as we get toward explaining everything that went on as the season ended. So let's start off with the elephant in the room, the bigger plot stories, right? Stuff with the FBI, with Shaw, the bombing, the everything, right? I was so locked in, I was so focused on what was going on in that season. Like, during that arc, with everything that was going on, with the Nikki Heat killings, right? I was so locked in, I was so focused, I was just waiting for these shoes to drop, you know what I mean? Seeing these things happen and like trying to figure out what was going on, you know what I mean? And I don't think I can properly elaborate what was going on, like how I don't think I can properly elaborate and identify just how much I was paying attention, because it was such a strange like phenomenon for me, because normally when an arc of a show starts, I'm more upset that the arc didn't end properly in the previous portion, or I don't like how the characters are acting, or there's some kind of turning point that wasn't really established properly, like. But this was because of the episodic nature of the show. It was made very clear what was going on, how things were moving, and so when things got stretched over multiple parts, you were excited. It was like watching old kids cartoons, seeing like regular show or Amazing World of Gumball having a part 2 to an episode. Unheard of, but also it felt natural, right? It was unheard of, but it felt natural, and it felt like some serious shit was happening. I felt like a kid again watching Castle, waiting for the next episode to see what the hell is going on. And I watched it all, like I watched most of season 2 in one sitting. So it's not like I was like deep in anticipation, like I'm forcing myself to wait a week to week. I watched most of it in a couple sittings. And so like the story going on with the Nikki Heat killer had me so focused, because I had no idea what was going to happen. And I know that's just kind of a lot of the show. You never really expect the unexpected. But with this particular instance, it was so much more personal, so much more focused, that you couldn't not worry about the characters. Like, Beckett's apartment got bombed. Like, you can't not worry about that. It kind of felt like we were in Castle shoes. Like, it also, thinking back on it with some hindsight, seeing all of that happen really opened the door for what went on in later seasons, because Beckett ends up in a lot of danger throughout the series, or throughout the seasons I've seen so far. But it becomes really bad after season 2. After season 2, she becomes involved in some internal investigations. The frickin', I think it's season 3. There's another 2-part episode thing, or 2-part season, or 2-part episodic arc that goes on that also has Beckett in danger. I'm not going to cover that right now. That's next episode. I think Vampire Survivors. Like, there was so much, like, so many times where Castle isn't, or where Castle isn't in danger and Beckett is, which is supposed to be normal. Like, we're supposed to accept that that's going to happen more for Beckett than it is for Castle, because Beckett is the police officer. She's the detective. Castle's just a writer. He's not the one that's supposed to be in danger, but is supposed to be unlikely in danger. That's supposed to be the interesting thing, where civilian is involved in these police investigations. But Beckett's the one that's supposed to be, like, regularly in danger as a police detective. But for whatever reason, we worry way more about Beckett comparatively to Castle. Or at least that's how I felt about it. It felt kind of like a character psychology on the viewer, because we as the viewer, we're not involved in the show, but they definitely use our perspective, our unique perspective, between, like, as Castle's eyes, as the listener to Castle's story. We have a unique perspective on caring about these characters in a very different way, and I feel like it's done very intentionally, where oh dear, why is there so much range? There's so many enemies with projectiles. We're doing the damage to kill everything, but I don't have the range, so I'm getting surrounded. I gotta be able to move. Getting that walk speed thing was not helpful. Okay, we lost shield. Say we have shield and then we lost it immediately, so it didn't really matter. I need space. I need space. I need space. I need space. We're getting some range back. Not enough, because they're shooting from so far away. Yeah, no. We need to move. Okay, there. We got them pushed out to the outside. I am not moving in that direction until we clear out this shit. I don't have any soul hearts, so just fire it. Can I get my shield back? Please. I got so lucky right there. Yeah. Alright. So yeah, the we psychology, unique perspective, viewer, Castle's eyes. And it's so weird to think about and talk about this, because I didn't really think about it in the moment. I didn't think about it until really I was talking about it just now. We as the viewer have such a unique way of looking at everything because we have so much of the information, but we also have so little. We're forced to worry and focus on these different characters very individually. Because I'm not going to speak to the mystery of the different murders and everything, because I don't feel as though I'm intelligent enough to be able to be like, oh, I thought of that before the characters did. It's just such poor writing. I don't care. It's enticing television, right? It was a decent enough mystery. I don't care if maybe I called it, or maybe I thought, oh yeah, I figured that. I don't really care about that. It was good writing and enticing television. And so, beyond that is how, not just how the writing is for each plot line of the each plot line of the murders is the story arcs and how it is. I feel like they had the viewers feel about everything going on. And so to finally come back around to talking about everything that went on in the arc with the Nikki Heat killer, it was such a strange twist toward the end of the first episode of that two-parter. I say strange. It was actually an interesting twist, because it had been done earlier in season 1, I believe, where the killer staged a close friend or someone random as the killer, but it was done in such a way that it was obvious, or that it was done in a way that was almost obvious. Now, what do I mean by that? Because that sounds kind of pretentious. What I mean is that Castle wasn't the only one thinking about this case. He wasn't the only one thinking about how it was the killer committed suicide. Because the killer is left-handed. Why did the gun end up in his right hand? Why did his height not match up? There was these things that were so definitive and so clear that as the viewer, if you were paying attention, you would see it. And I did too. Something didn't quite add up. I couldn't figure out what exactly at the moment, because I just thought things are too easy. Like, you're meant to feel worried. You're meant to feel confused. It's meant to feel like the case was too easy. That something isn't right. And that uncanniness was so clear and so definitive that by the time you got to the end of the episode, when Beckett's apartment blew up, it makes sense. The worry that you had, the distraught feeling, the it's too easy made so much sense. And so it became that much more personal to the viewer, to Castle, to everyone involved, that this guy get caught. And it became that much more interesting. It was done, the way it was done was meant to make it so that you cared about Castle and Beckett not being on the investigation anymore, because it is now that much more personal. But it also set up an interesting dynamic that I don't think anyone really saw the subtlety in. It set up an interesting dynamic where the more personal the investigation got, the more jaded Beckett started becoming, until we got toward the end of maybe even season 4, or the middle of season 4, when everything kind of hit the fan. Or I guess the beginning of season 4? The end of season 3? I'm trying to think when that was. Or like, when it was that everything kind of hit the fan. But like, season 2 did such a great job. I have nothing but praise for season 2. It was a great setup, and even though it was majorly just set up, it was very enticing television. Had me caring so much about everything about what was happening, because like I said, in season 1, I said that the characters were used very oddly. It kind of felt like they were just there. They didn't feel like people. They felt like characters being used to push along the plot. Whereas season 2 feels like they were people. And feels like we were part of the story as a viewer, where our perspective mattered so much more. And I feel like that's so much more interesting and involving, engaging. Like, there's a lot of adjectives I could use. But it was done so well. And so, to me, it's a lot better of a season compared to season 1, just for that. And every season after this does this same thing, where our personal perspective is so much more important compared to just the happenings of the story. I will say it gets a little monotonous. The writing style gets a little monotonous here and there, which is kind of why in these little reviews for season 1, in the last video and season 2 now, is I don't really care about some of the murders that go on. Because there was some other stuff that happened too. Stuff like Castle with his first wife. Or, no, not the first wife. His girlfriend. The one that got away. That one. Like, I didn't really care. It was interesting, don't get me wrong. It was interesting seeing the dynamic between Castle and Beckett. But it felt kind of strong. It felt a little excessive. Where I cared because the characters cared, but I also just wanted to know the conclusion. I wanted to know if she did it. I wanted to know if Castle was going to care and break up this wedding. I wanted to know if she was going to do something. Like, there wasn't really anything I cared about throughout the episode. I just wanted to know the conclusion. And I feel like that happened a couple different times throughout the investigative episodes, where the focus was more on let me do that, because I actually kind of fuck with the summons a little bit right now. But we are now on difficulty 15, which is the last difficulty. But I am going to be right back because I am hungry and my brother brought food earlier. So I'm just going to pause the recording and then I'll be right back. It'll take less than a second. I am realizing just now that the video didn't pause. So I think I just need to finish one run anyway. Well, I mean, I guess for you guys, it doesn't really matter because it's just going to resume from wherever it was I was trying to cut to. But I was trying to pause the video so I wouldn't have to do any editing, but I guess I have to. Whatever. So we're gonna do the dark arts. This time I had I had Jack in the Box. I told my brother that I wasn't gonna make anything today because I needed time to record, but I did not end up recording anything at the times that I was supposed to. So I'm a little behind for the next couple days. But we should be fine. Anyhow. Castle Season 2. We covered everything with the Nikki Heat Killer. We covered I don't really care about any of those. Okay, we covered everything with the Nikki Heat Killer. We covered everything with Deming. It was really interesting seeing damn, that was cool as shit. Let's do this. It's really interesting seeing Beckett's ex because he represents a very different time of her life. So assumedly, that was around the time that she was still obsessing over her mom's murder, right? And so she was a very different person comparatively to what we met, or who we know now of, or know as now. Jesus, I don't think that came out right at all. Excitement. I just ate food, so I'm feeling a little mildly tired. I'm trying to think, is there anything else to like talk about with season 2. I don't think there was. I think I might have covered everything. I did kind of start talking about this. I don't think I ever like got to a conclusiveness on it. I should have picked the dark arts thing. Was talking about Esposito. Cause yeah, I talked about how it showed his past and his connection to the 54th, his previous precinct before the 12th. But it was also really interesting seeing how they're using that connection that he had to set up how the next couple seasons are going to play around with the fact that cops aren't infallible, because they use what happens in that portion of the season, right, with Esposito and his partner and people from the 54th to set up the next couple arcs in season 3, and they do it really well. Because they set up Beckett's kind of internal arc very well within that season. I don't really care about any of those. I haven't gotten double shot yet. Maybe I should have done fire rate. Did I get double shot actually? No. I should really get dark arts soon. There's double shot. Was there anything else? Was there anything else? I guess I can talk a little bit news. I started recording dispatch episodes, or dispatch videos, or I guess I'm gonna try to stick. Look, this is the plan, right? I'm gonna set up a marathon. Okay. I played the first 2 episodes with my friends. I'm gonna try to play the next 2 episodes soon, and I'm planning to have all of those set up by either not this upcoming Sunday, either Saturday or the next Sunday. Okay, maybe just next Wednesday might be easier to set up. Because the reason why I'm doing it that way is because I couldn't record everything yesterday on Wednesday when I played it, or not Wednesday. Well, this is coming out Thursday. And what I mean by yesterday, I mean I'm recording this on Wednesday, so Tuesday. I only recorded the first 2 episodes. I wanted to record more, but my friends and I wanted to play, or my friends wanted to play other stuff, and I wanted to appease my friends, and I had to go to bed soon, so I just wanted to hang out with them, do whatever we were gonna hang out and do. Oh wait, dark arts. We need that. Okay. Anyway. Jesus. Burn through my shield, burn through fucking everything. We are doing this one because we're gonna have a lot of opportunity to increase our max health. The next thing I'm going to talk about, right? So dispatch. We recorded the first 2 episodes. I'm gonna try to get the next 2 episodes recorded tomorrow. Today's Thursday, according to the video. So Friday, I'm gonna record the next 2 episodes. and then Saturday. So it really just depends on whether or not Saturday and Sunday I record, or Saturday I record the last 2 batches, 6 and 7, or no, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Yeah. If I record both of those back to back, or like in one sitting, because it's very likely I'm not going to be able to record tonight, or record dispatch tonight. I'll let you know in the next Rogue-lite Power Hour if that ended up happening or not. It probably didn't, but I'll try to figure out. I want to clear. Yeah, that's what I want. Anyhow, I think that's. There's some other news. I'm gonna try to beat Sifu as soon as possible, so that I can upload the dispatch videos, because I don't want to upload both of them. I think I might though. Record. So I want to start. I'm not sure if I want to do 6 or 5 Rogue-lite Power Hours a week with this new attempt at the schedule, because I'm definitely going to record every week now, because I'm tired of being lazy on my weekends. But I also don't know how that'll work out in terms of editing, because recording takes an hour, right, for the Rogue-lite Power Hours. But then for things like dispatch and for Sifu, it takes 2 to 3 hours, and I kind of comb through them to not really edit, but just to make sure that everything sounds right, give it a little bit more personality. And particularly with dispatch, and what I'm going to start doing with other single-player playthroughs, is I'm going to be editing them down for clips, or making clips and stuff, because as much as just recording and just showing off to you guys that I'm playing games and stuff, I want to grow too. You know, I want to make a community. I want to, you know, I want to do stuff. Death Sickle. You know, I want to do the content creator thing. And so in my efforts to doing that, I want to, you know, I want to grow, and that means making clips. That means posting on Twitter more than just, hey, I uploaded a video. Because if I get big enough and grow enough, and I start making money from this, I can, you know, I can quit the full-time job, or I can quit my job, you know. Not that I want to. To be honest, even if I do get big enough to make money from this, I kind of just want to increase my my living capability, you know? A nicer apartment, stuff like that. A better vehicle, a vehicle in general. Because I like my job. I genuinely do. It's a fun time. Or not really, not fun. Work is work, but like, fuck. My throat's a little sticky from the milkshake I had. But, like, I don't think, even if I started making money from YouTube and I made enough to quit my job, I don't think I would. Because I genuinely enjoy working there. I enjoy talking and hanging out with my coworkers. It's fun, you know. It kind of reminds me of school, you know, which isn't horrible. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, being reminded of school sucks, or like people that really like being reminded of school, or like they're just trying to relive their peak, like their glory days. And it's like, no, it's just school was a large majority of my life, like between high school and then college, and it's just kind of nice meeting new people, and like, it's nice meeting new people. It's kind of like, that's the end all be all. And it's not, it can be stressful at times working, but it's not unnecessary, you know? It's not anything out of my own control. And so, I don't know. I really enjoy, I like my job. is the basically it. I like my job. I'm not gonna say what my job is, partly because, you know, I'm a voice on the internet. Most people know who I am, or most people that maybe visit the channel know who I am. I've asked them to keep myself anonymous because it's not my prerogative to do face cam or to share my real name or to do anything like that, because, well, it's not anyone's business to know any of that stuff. That's kind of it. It's just I appreciate my privacy. I've always appreciated my privacy, and so I just don't feel it's necessary to reveal my name or show my face or anything like that. But yeah, I want basically, I kind of tangented off, but I want the channel to grow. I want to make money from this. I want to be able to do fun stuff outside of, well, that's outside of just recording videos. But I also really do enjoy recording videos. I enjoy making the time to record for an hour and just have fun and talk about something I really want to talk about. Because no offense to my friends or anything, but, you know, we're all busy. We're all doing stuff. And so, like, I understand that they can't do and play all the same things that I do. So getting the opportunity to talk about something like Castle is really fun. It's a good time for me. I'm hoping you guys have a good time listening to me talk about it. Also, feel free to comment, like, just like talking points for Castle or whatever, because it'd be fun, you know, to have an actual conversation beyond just you listening to me talk about the show. I know I'm late to Castle comparatively because the show came out I was gonna say a while ago, but I actually don't know when it came out. I didn't really pay attention. I was just like, oh, I've seen a couple episodes of Castle here and there. I'll watch it. It's on Prime. And that was kind of like it. Ooh, what upgrade do I want? For ×3. If I get the scythe, redo the thumbnail for the scythe. This is also working a lot better than when I used it the first time. Alright, this is really important. Maybe I do the ghost. You know, triple ghost. Yeah, I'll do triple ghost for the thumbnail. I feel like triple is just kind of the works for the thumbnails for these. And I need to wait until we're out of the ranged enemies to do the thumbnail with like the huge amount of enemies. And I gotta pay attention to the timestamp so I know when to grab. Like shit, the timestamp's not gonna be right for the OBS because I didn't pause the video. Whatever, I'll just try to find it. I know roughly I'm looking for hour 26. Maybe I'll grab it in DaVinci first. I'll have to remind myself to grab it in DaVinci first. Big shot. Great dodge. Okay, I think we're almost there. Are all the range enemies gone? Yes, that's perfect. Just go like that. Maybe I just do the giant circle. Like that. Maybe that'll be a good enough thumbnail with the ghosts and everything. summon damage. Is there anything else? Maybe like... I don't know. Do you guys like the roguelite selection so far? I think I've officially played every roguelite for the new selection that I have so far. Maybe I can... No, I didn't time right. Like... Because I said before that I was going to change the roguelites, that I was only going to play like 6 different ones. And I think I picked a solid 6 that got a lot of engagement over the last couple of videos. I want to play different ones. I want to play more of them because there's some I really enjoyed, but there's none that really fit the mold for the style of Rogue-lite Power Hour that these ones do. And there were some videos that got more engagement than others. But like I said before, I really want to grow this channel. +4. Are these both the same? Oh wait, no. Movement speed. That would have been great last run. I'll just do this. That is actually thumbnail, I think. Hold on. Nope, I thought I could time the... There we go. That's better. 420, or look for 422 on the timestamp in the last run. What was I saying? Yeah, I want the channel to grow. So, making a judgment... I made a judgment call that I should focus on making a more, like... a more specific selection of games to build an audience. They'll be more willing to watch me play other games outside of their own little niche. Because I really enjoy playing the games I am playing right now, and they are kind of like the definitive of roguelites for the most part. But there are plenty of other games more popular in the genre, like Slay the Spire and Hades and Wizard of Legend, and a lot of those that are a lot more popular that, to be honest, I'd rather play than a lot of these. But these are just the ones that got the best engagement that I also happen to enjoy playing. They're also a lot simpler, a lot easier to just pick up and start playing. So I don't really have too many gripes about the selection, but you guys let me know. Do you guys like the games I picked out? Would you have preferred I did a different game? Because you can also let me know if you want me to change up the games. Because it's only 6 different games. If at any point it's like kind of tired of one of the games, if you guys let me know, I can switch it up. Because I still have all of those other games that we played before this, plus a couple of other new ones. So if you guys do want me to play a different game, don't hesitate to ask. And I highly recommend going through the Rogue-lite Power Hour playlist and seeing which ones I have and haven't done yet. Because that could make it easier for you to choose if you want me to play a specific one. Hell, for some of the multiplayer ones like Unrailed and now Vampire Survivors, I can try getting my friends roped into it too. We can all play it. To be honest, I'm kind of like the I meant to click the other thing. Kind of like a Jehovah's Witness of content creation. I've been trying to get my friends to make YouTube channels, and I can edit for them. Like, I've been trying to set this up for a while. Particularly with Section, because he doesn't like horror games, but he also has a kind of morbid curiosity about horror games. So I'm trying to set up a channel where Apocalypse plays horror games, Section watches him play, even he's the one that suggested play them, and we just record, or they record, and then I edit. Or maybe I record them playing, you know, and then I edit. Because they have some dumb, funny moments. I feel like that'd be a really cool channel idea. It'd also be really easy to do. To be honest, I also haven't really shot this particular plan out to them yet. I have shot out the idea that I make Section a clips channel, montage channel, you know? Because he plays a lot of, like, he just plays a lot of, like, pro-ish games, like Rivals, and he'll occasionally pick up Counter-Strike and Valorant and a couple of those games every now and then because his friends will ask him to play. And I've been telling him, like, yo, you want montages, you want clips, you want shit like that, you just hit me up. We can set you up with a channel, like, right away. Like, I'm telling you, I'm like a Jehovah's Witness. I'm just like, everyone needs a channel. Everyone needs an editor. I am that editor. That one. I think we're coming up on the end here. I'm really glad these worked, because the first time I used the wind katana and the scythe, it was so bad. I don't know what it was. It's just whatever I was trying to do was not working. All right. Maybe I just do the "You survived" as the thumbnail. That goes kind of hard, right? Alright. So, as much as I want to keep playing, I am kind of busy today. I need to go and do some stuff that I've been holding off on, so we've officially finished difficulty 15. So, before the next the next Rogue-lite Power Hour, let me know which one of these characters you want me to play. I'll run through them really quick. So, firstly, I need to know which character you want me to play, and then after I go through every character using the Cyclone Sword, let me know which weapon you want me to run. You got plenty of time. I think there's going to be a whole week between this video and the next video, or of 20 minutes till dawn. So I'll just run through these guys really quick. We played through every difficulty with Shauna. Now we need to do Diamond, who starts with very high HP, as you can tell. Scarlet, on every third shot, throws out a wave of fire that burns enemies. Hina, if I right-click, I will summon a shadow clone that attacks nearby enemies. Shadow clones will deal damage. Will do equal damage to my bullet damage. So, might work out really well with the Cyclone Sword. Up to you. Spark. Those have 50% chance to call down lightning. Lilith. I used Lilith for a while before I used Shauna when I first played this game. I really liked her, but it's not my favorite thing. When enemies are killed, I'll summon a spirit. Spirits will chase down enemies. And then we have Abby, right-click to quickly shoot all remaining ammo. I'll be honest, I did not like Abby. I liked her upgrades, because you know how Shauna has the thing where she can, she increases her XP gain by 40%? Those upgrades are actually pretty good for Abby. They're all weapon-based, which works out really well when you have a strong weapon like the Cyclone Sword. But then we have Yuki, On every 6th shot, send out a frost butterfly. They'll freeze enemies. Now, that works out really well when you're building out fire rate, but I didn't really like her. She just didn't feel quite right. Luna, like, she was good. Like I said, I got through up until I think here for all the difficulty 15 clears with the Cyclone Sword. And I think I did these two because I already had them unlocked. But next we have Luna. When I reload, I'll create a black hole that pulls in nearby enemies. Not the best thing with the Cyclone Sword, but not the worst. Dasher. I really did not like Dasher. I did not like having to use her ability the way I did. So maybe I'll do better. You know, she was really strong, you know. She's invincible during the effect, but I definitely need to use her better. Need to get better upgrades. Haster. I thought I would like Haster because I like Lilith, but it wasn't working for me. I still wouldn't mind playing her. It's just not my favorite thing. Raven. Again, I don't hate Raven. I just, for a while, before today, I really didn't like Curse. The Dark Art stuff that I had with Cyclone Sword. So, maybe I try her out. Maybe it's a lot better now. And I was just bad before. But that is the end of the Rogue-lite Power Hour for Thursday? For Thursday. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what show you want me to talk about next. Whatever it is, I'll try to finish it up and upload a video with me talking about it as quickly as possible. Let me know how you feel about these games I've been playing so far, and let me know if you want me to change them up. If there's one in particular that maybe you'd prefer I don't play or do play. I will say 20 Minutes Till Dawn and Vampire servers are here to stay, because those are the times I get to talk about TV shows and stuff. So those are not up for negotiation, but the other ones I wouldn't mind. But yeah, that's everything. So, like I said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.